Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Allotment Dram. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk about different whiskies in the surroundings of our North London allotment, and you join me on quite a lovely mid-May day actually. It's been quite warm, quite sunny, blue skies, everything's growing, so lovely time of the year to be up here and doing a few jobs. And when I say everything's growing, I mean the weeds and the grass as well, so having to try and keep on top of that as best as possible. But while that's all very interesting, I'm sure you didn't really tune in to hear about that. You tuned in to hear about some whiskey, of course, and delighted to have a new whiskey for you today, and a very special one at that, because it's actually from a new distillery. So it's the first release from this distillery, and it's the Ardnahoe inaugural release, 5-year-old, from the Ardnahoe distillery on the island of Islay. And this literally came out last week or so, I think 10th of May, and what are we on now? It's like 15th, something like that. So grabbed a bottle, you know, as soon as we could, because we love to have these things and just taste what a new distillery is offering, you know, outside of what's already out there. So yeah, it'd be very interesting. Not opened it, so I'm opening it for you for this video today. So what can I tell you about Ardnahoe? Well, they began production in 2018. I was very fortunate to actually go there before they opened, and literally there was still like scaffolding up and the stills were in, but yeah, like the proper flooring and all sorts of stuff wasn't in, but it was very impressive at that point. And the still house actually looks across the Strait of Islay to Jura, and you can see the two famous like paps of Jura, the two mountains there straight across out of the still house. So it's, yeah, it's a stunning place if you ever get the chance to visit. But Ardnahoe means height of the hollow in Scots Gaelic, and it's owned by Hunter Lang, the pretty well known, highly regarded independent bottlers. And this was really a long-term vision of theirs. They wanted to have their own distillery, and you know, you can't really beat sort of going to Islay to do that. So yeah, they started building it, began production in 2018, and now this is the first whiskey, the sort of fruits of their labour, so to speak, which is they've released it 5-year-old, and I quite like that they've released it at 5 rather than, you know, 3 years. You know, they've waited a bit until the whiskey is sort of you know, a little bit more mature. You know, a lot of people release at sort of 3 years in a day, you know, to get something out there, but I quite like that they've waited 5 years to do that. And what can I tell you about the bottle here? Well, it's bottled at 50% ABV, so quite a nice strength. It's non-chill filtered and natural colour, and it's also the first of a series that they're going to release of whiskies in 2024. I think there's 4. I'm trying to remember what the press release said, but I think there's 4 that are coming out, of which this is the first one. And this is actually the first new whiskey from a new distillery on Islay since Kilcoman released their first whiskey back in 2009. So quite exciting. It's had like the whole whiskey sphere in quite a buzz. You know, as I say, people like to try these things and kind of see what direction people are going in. And this is it's been matured in ex-Oloroso sherry and also ex-bourbon casks, so matured side by side for the 5 years, and they're married together. And it's been made using barley which is malted at the famous Port Ellen maltings, which is just down in the south of Islay. Ardnahoe is actually up in the northeast, so the very sort of rugged cliff, sits on a sort of cliff top there. It's very sort of rugged terrain, and you've also got Bunnahaven just to the north and Kalila just to the south of them there as well. But the barley was all produced at Port Ellen maltings, sort of down in the village of Port Ellen in the south of the island, and it's peated to a level of 40 ppm. So ppm is phenol parts per million, and this is how they measure the strength of smokiness within a whiskey, if you're not sure what that means. So literally, if you want a higher ppm, so something like Lefroy or Ardbeg, which are sort of 55, 60 ppm on a regular basis, you literally leave the peat fire burning and it dries the barley, and more phenol in the smoke locks into the barley grains there. But if you want something a little bit milder, so say like Highland Park, which you know, is what, 10, 12 ppm, something like that, you literally leave that peat fire burning a little bit less in terms of the time. But what else? I think that's pretty much everything. It costs £70, so not too naughty for a first release. You know, we've seen some that are, you know, double that, if we're being honest, and we've also seen some first releases which are, you know, half that. So, you know, each to their own, but I think £70 not too bad at all. And I think it's probably about time of me like chatting away for like, what, 5 or 6 minutes here, telling you about Ardnahoe. I think we should probably open the bottle and see what we've got in here. As I say, never tasted it before. I never got the chance. The stills weren't working, so I've never tasted the new make or anything. So genuinely very exciting here. So let's do it. Oh, it's like a, we've got like a double, maybe even a triple thing here with the cap. I probably should have prepared this slightly better. Just talk amongst yourselves while I'm trying to get the cap off there. There we are. So here's the Ardnahoe. Oh, we love that sound, don't we? Oh yeah, it smells quite peaty actually. Oh, look at that. Lovely colour from those bourbon and Oloroso sherry casks there. Smells very promising indeed, just coming out the bottle. What have we got? Yeah, look at the colour of that. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, quite sort of ashy, like a sort of bonfire ash. So that smokiness kind of hits you a little bit, but then there's more coming. There's like lots of vanilla. Maybe like vanilla custard, you know, like you get in the, like a patisserie, something like that. Some baked apple as well. Some sort of ginger and lemon zest as well. But let's have a taste. Gosh, that's good. That's that smoke is quite drying, quite gripping. It's gripping my taste buds, and that sort of really ashiness, like bonfire embers or charcoal embers, really coming through. Really drying, but accentuated quite beautifully by this sort of vanilla custard, this patisserie custard. We've got the baked. It's definitely a cooked. It's not a crisp green apple. It's definitely like a baked apple, like poached pear, some that sort of cooked sort of orchard fruits. And then you've got some, like I said, ginger on the nose, but it's a little bit more defined now. It's like that crystallized ginger that you get, well, you can get all year round, but I always think of it like Christmas sort of time. And yeah, just like a twist of lemon zest there. Let's have another taste. So my neighbours have just started talking sort of behind the hedge here, so hopefully you can't hear them too much, and they're not sort of disrupting you. But yeah, gosh, so you've got all of those things underneath. With this second taste, I'm now getting more like a sort of malted biscuit, or like, you know, sort of homemade oat cakes, something like that. It's got a little slightly burnt sort of touch, like you've left them in the oven just a touch too long. There's some caramel as well, golden syrup, and then some dried fruits. You've got like a sort of juicy, sugary sultana, and definitely some hazelnut as well. There's like a hazelnut praline or something like that as well. But yeah, very, very nice, and all like wrapped around with this sort of wonderful ashy smokiness. It kind of sits in the mid-range, I would say. You know, you've got Lafroig and Ardbeg, which are right up here in terms of those ppm, the phenol part per million levels, and come across much smokier, much bigger. And then you've got things that sit in this middle range within smoky whisky, so things like Kalila, like Bowmore, like Talisker, and Ardnahoe is sitting right in there actually. So yeah, very, very nice, very impressive first release on my initial impression of it, actually. And I'll be writing a sort of full blog post with my full tasting notes very shortly, so that'll be on Whiskey for Everyone blogspot. Yeah, I think that's probably about it. You know, what a lovely way to spend an afternoon, sitting here in the allotments on a lovely day in my t-shirts. First time really I've been able to do that properly since the autumn, and talk about a lovely whiskey. So from myself and the Ardnahoe inaugural release 5-year-old, we will probably bid you farewell, and hope to see you again very soon for another allotment dram. And yeah, definitely check it out. You know, £70, you're getting quite a lot of whiskey for your money there, particularly as it's at 50%. So yeah, from myself and the Ardnahoe, we will bid you farewell and see you again very soon, I hope. Cheers.